I'm 89 now. I sit here most days in this same chair, the one with the worn brown fabric that's been here since the 70s. The house is quiet, too quiet sometimes. I look out the window at the same maple tree that's grown taller than the roof, and I realize most of the life I lived happened while I was busy being afraid it might fall apart if I didn't hold it just right. I didn't set out to be this way. Nobody does, I suppose. But looking back, fear was there from the beginning, quiet, like a shadow you don't notice until the light changes. In my 20s, I had a job at the mill. Steady pay, union benefits, people who knew my father. It wasn't exciting, but it was safe. Safe felt important after the war, after seeing friends not come home. I met Ellen at a church social. She was kind, steady too. We married in '58. I remember the day we signed the mortgage papers for this house. My hand shook a little when I wrote my name. Not from nerves about the money, we could afford it, but from the weight of promising something permanent. I told myself permanence was what grown men did. We had 2 boys, Tommy first, then David 3 years later. I worked doubles when overtime came up. Ellen stayed home. That was the arrangement everyone had. I came home tired, ate dinner, read the paper, went to bed. Weekends I fixed things around the house or mowed the lawn. I didn't talk much about what I wanted or didn't want. I didn't know how. Talking about feelings felt like opening a door you might not be able to close again. I was afraid of losing the life we'd built. Afraid if I asked for too much, if I said the job bored me or that I sometimes wondered what else was out there, it would all come undone. So I stayed. I stayed quiet. I stayed safe. There were moments I could have done differently. In '72, Tommy was 12. He wanted to go to baseball camp for 2 weeks. It cost money we didn't have lying around. I said no. Told him we couldn't afford it, that he could play in the local league like I did. Truth was, I was afraid of spending the cash, afraid of setting a precedent, afraid he'd expect more than I could give. He nodded, didn't argue. But I saw the light go out of his eyes for a day or two. I told myself it was just a camp. Kids get over things. I kept saying that to myself over the years. Kids get over things. Marriages get over silences. People get over disappointments. Ellen tried to talk to me sometimes. Late at night, after the boys were asleep, she'd ask how I was. Really how I was. I'd say fine. She'd wait. I'd change the subject. I was afraid if I started, I wouldn't stop. Afraid of what might come out. Afraid she'd see I wasn't as solid as I looked. Here are a couple of photos from back then. Here is one from the yard in 1965. Ellen and me with the boys, all of us smiling for the camera. Here is another, same year, the 4 of us on the porch. They look like a happy family. We were, in a way. But the pictures don't show the things left unsaid. The years went on. The mill closed in '89. I was 53. I found another job at a warehouse, lower pay, more physical. I took it without complaint. Complaining felt dangerous. Ellen got a part-time job at the library to help. We tightened the belt. The boys grew up, moved out. Tommy went into construction like his uncle. David became a teacher. I was proud. I told them so, in my way. A pat on the back, a check for their first car. I never told them I loved them the way they needed to hear it. I thought it was obvious. I thought showing up every day was enough. I was afraid the words would sound false coming from me, or that saying them would make me vulnerable in some way I couldn't recover from. Ellen got sick in 2001. Breast cancer. They caught it early, she said. She went through the treatments. I drove her to every appointment. I made soup. I sat beside her bed when the chemo knocked her flat. I did all the things you're supposed to do, but I never asked her what she was afraid of. I never told her how terrified I was of losing her. I kept it inside, like always. I thought strength meant holding everything in. She died in 2004, quietly, at home. I was holding her hand when she went. After that, the house got quieter still. I kept going. I retired at 65. I gardened a little, watched the news, called the boys once a week. They called back. Holidays happened. Grandkids came. I smiled for the pictures, but the fear never left. It just changed shape. Now it was fear that if I leaned too hard on anyone, they'd pull away. Fear that the loneliness was my fault and admitting it would make it real. I see it clearly now. Fear didn't just protect me. It shaped everything. It kept me from asking for what I needed. It kept me from giving what others needed. It turned small silences into years of distance. It made me choose duty over presence, safety over connection. There were so many times I could have spoken. A conversation with Ellen about dreams we gave up. A weekend away with Tommy, just the two of us. A letter to David telling him I admired the man he'd become. I waited for the right moment. I waited for courage. I waited for more time. There isn't more time. These hands, look at them. They're thinner now. The skin is thin too, spots everywhere. They used to hold tools, hold children, hold Ellen. Now they mostly rest in my lap. I don't tell you this to make you feel sorry for me. I tell you because I wish someone had told me when I was younger. Not in a big speech, just quietly. That fear is a bad architect. It builds walls instead of bridges. It keeps you dry, but it keeps you alone. If you're still listening and you're not as old as I am, maybe look around. See where fear has quietly settled in your days. See the conversations you're postponing, the words you're swallowing, the people you're keeping at arm's length because it's safer. You don't have to fix it all at once. You probably can't. But maybe start small. Say one true thing today that scares you a little. Stay present for one conversation without planning your escape. It won't solve everything, but it might keep the regret from growing the way mine did. I'm tired now. The light's fading outside. I'll sit here a while longer, watching the tree move in the wind. It's still standing after all these years. So am I. That's something, I suppose. If any of this stayed with you, if it reminded you of something in your own life, maybe think about it tomorrow. That's all I ask. Good night.